We can always find our way to a fun moment, even in the shady bunch.
What's up, tribe? How you guys doing? Go ahead and hit that subscribe button, and I hope you like this video. This is going to be your review for Ready to Love Reunion Part 2, Season 4 Reunion Part 2. So we left off with Kyra with a cliffhanger of whether Kyra wanted to date AJ or not. And she was like, listen, I still feel like we didn't get a definitive answer. At the end of the day, she was like, we still dating. But right now, I'm just kind of doing me. And if AJ want to get back in good, he know what he needs to do. But you clearly have, listen, Kyra, at the end of the day, I think, Kyra, you just need to say, listen, I wasn't feeling none of these dudes. I had a good time on the show. I got me a little bit of, visibility. I got some people in my DMs, but I wasn't feeling none of these dudes. Because I feel like ultimately that's what it boiled down to. I feel like AJ was a level of familiarity for you. I know I just screwed that word up. But because y'all knew each other before the show, it was familiar. Anyway, child, I just don't feel like we got a whole lot out of that. Then we have Troy. Troy and his kisses. Troy and his situation. And basically, ultimately, Troy, they asked him, did he have any regrets or would he do anything differently? He was like, yeah, I just want to do it on camera. He was like, yeah, I just, I learned that I probably shouldn't do that on camera. How about maybe you shouldn't do it? Maybe you shouldn't do it. Again, it's a dating show and I get it, but, I wasn't even tripping off the kisses as much because they weren't like tongue kisses. But the whole, I'm going to take you away for your birthday and, that whole, Dapper Don thing. But he just didn't, I don't feel like that I didn't get any level of regret or anything off of him. Now, he did say that, he wouldn't do that. He weren't on a dating show, that he was being real aggressive because he felt like he had a small window of time to make an impression, which is a valid thing. That's valid and that's true because a lot of the people that got eliminated early, what was the same thing all of them said? Oh, well, I wish I had been a little more aggressive. I wish I had taken advantage a little bit more. Amber was like, she really was feeling him in the beginning until she found out that he was running around, playing kissing cousins with everybody. And then at the very end, we found out at the very end, Tommy announced that, the next season of Ready Love is going to be my hometown of DC. I wonder if it's going to be anybody I know on the show. Girl. But I heard Troy say to Tommy, oh, DC, yeah, I could fly up. I could do this again. Sure. Anyway. But we'll see, and I'll let y'all know if I know anybody that knows somebody that knows somebody. But let's get back to this season. So that was the thing with Troy. Did we get Dietrich? I feel like we didn't. Now, I know they probably filmed it, because I know all of them get a moment as far as the reunion, but I don't feel like we got it. Did we get it? Did I miss it? Dietrich was the chef. Y'all remember? I saw him, but I don't remember us getting I don't remember him getting his own segment. And if he did, it must have been that boring that I missed it. That's it. That's all. That's all I got to say about that. Moving on. Anyway. Kyra and Jason, listen. Basically, the whole Kyra and Jason situation boiled down to Kyra not being able to give Jason a definitive answer. I think Kyra was liking Jason, but I also think Kyra wasn't ready to put all her eggs in that basket. And like Jason said, she kept saying, I want to ride this out to the end. And I was like, we are at the end. I said that in my review. Like, y'all were literally at the next to the last elimination. I don't know what is there left to do. The next elimination was a female elimination, and it was the last elimination of the season. So I'm not sure what you wanted from Jason. And what I can appreciate from Jason was he made it clear. Liz was not my number 2. I genuinely had built a connection with Liz. But because you couldn't tell me anything and you couldn't make any type of commitment to me, you made my decision easy. So I can appreciate that, Jason was like, no, we're not going to get this twisted. She wasn't a backup, but she wasn't your first choice. Yeah. Then we had Aubrey. What's her name? Aubrey and her cat. She found her cat. That's all I got. She found the cat. But I mean, she basically said the same thing. But her and Christian are going out on a date, so hopefully they can find some love. And listen, hopefully, yeah. David and Stacey and the whole password situation. So then we had David's segment. Y'all, I don't know what's wrong with David. David in the password situation. He said that it got blown out of proportion and that it was, and that it was that Stacey misrepresented what he said. But I don't feel like she did, because she kept saying relationship, marriage. And I feel like people got caught up on, because he said marriage. So my thing is, well, if he said marriage and he stood by that, like, listen, in a marriage, I feel like that's the expectation. If I'm in a marriage with you, then that is my expectation, is that I have access to your social media, your email, and vice versa. And Tommy asked the people on the stage, like, would y'all do that in a marriage? And it was about half raised their hand, half didn't raise their hand. I thought it interesting that Amber didn't have her hand raised, so she saw Chris had his hand raised, and then she raised her hand at the last minute. But anyway. But my thing is this. I've never really thought of it from that point of view. Honestly, I don't want my man's passwords. I mean, I just don't. If he was my husband, I don't think I would care about him having my passwords. But I would probably give him my passwords more out of a security situation, like God forbid something happens to me that they could get into my shit, then you want to check and see who in my DMs, because, I mean, so I don't know, but David felt like that was blown out of proportion, and, he said they kept making it seem like I was talking about dating situation, and I wasn't saying I needed people's passwords in a dating situation, but I do feel like that's something that when you move into a marriage, that is my expectation. So if that's the case, then you weren't misrepresented. That was your expectation. Then we got to Renisha and Joelle. Now listen, I have seen on social media that a lot of people are giving Renisha a hard one on this one. They're kind of siding with Joelle, but I'm gonna be honest with y'all. I'm kind of with Renisha on this. Now let me say this: the way, and I kind of feel like some of it was editing. It seemed like it came off that Renisha was the person they tried to make her out to be all season, like this controlling, I have to be in charge, my man can't look at another woman type situation. But ultimately, I think people didn't hear what she said at the beginning. She said, listen, me and Joelle was kicking it hard. We came to filming together. We left together. I was spending the night at his house. We were intimate. Like, we were locked in. It wasn't no ifs, ands, or buts about it. We were together. And even after filming, for the first couple of weeks after filming, we were together. Then he started switching on me. He stopped calling as much. He stopped being present as much. We stopped going out on dates as much. And then I found out he hanging out with the Bobbsey twins, Stacey and Chrysanthemum. Now, I'm not saying that anything was going on between them. I think Joel is that kind of dude. He probably has a lot of friends. He probably hangs out a lot. He's probably a really social guy. But from a female perspective, just take the cameras away, y'all. From a man that you've been kicking it with, you've been dealing with, and y'all spending all y'all time together. Y'all going to work together. Y'all picking each other up from work. Y'all doing date night. Y'all families have met each other. You spending the night. Y'all are intimate. Y'all have agreed that y'all are not going to date other people. And then you find out that somebody who's a mutual acquaintance asked him, are you dating? Do you have a girlfriend? And your response is no. Well, what the hell is the definition of a girlfriend? If me and you are dating and we are exclusive and we're not going to date other people, you're my boyfriend. That's it. That's all. Now, we said we still dating and we're going to see other people. That's a different conversation. But if we saying we together and I'm not dating nobody else, and you're not dating nobody else, you're my boyfriend. So yes, it's gonna hurt if I find out from other people that you told them that you didn't have no girlfriend. Then they brought up this other example where his mother-in-law passed away, and people, extended their condolences, and Amber reached out to him, and Renisha allegedly told Amber if you had taken him some food or something like that, I would have a problem with that. That was a little bit much, because I feel like that all of y'all are cool, all of y'all have a relationship, so that was a bit much. And then, she was in her feelings because she said that Stacey was flirting with him and had her hand on his chest. Okay, that was a bit much. But I feel like that was after you gave her pause to worry. I don't know if that would have been the same reaction had you not started pulling back and sort of ghosting her and started switching up on her. Because I know I can speak for myself. If you don't give me any reason to question you, that wouldn't bother me. But if you started acting funny and you started switching up on me, now I'm going to give you the side eye a little bit, and I'm going to start questioning a little bit of this and a little bit of that. So, I don't know, y'all. I was with, but needless to say, Renisha and Joelle are not speaking at this point. She said she ended it. He said he ended it. I don't even think it matters who did. It's ended. Does it really matter who ended it? It's ended. It is a wrap. It is done. So that's kind of where that was. And Tommy was really upset because he said, y'all were the couple that I really thought was going to make it. Because again, everybody saw how hard they was rocking away from the cameras. Like, we didn't know that they were showing up together and they were doing all their interviews together and all that. We didn't know they were doing all of that. But the cast and crew knew how tight that bond was. Anyway, child. David and Liz. Now listen. David wanted to sit there and say that he did not call Liz out in front of his friends, and he don't know where Liz got that from, but that ain't what he said. He said he was giving her props, saying, hey, she told me about kissing another dude and she didn't have to tell me. Liz was like, that ain't what you said. You called me out in front of your friends and I was embarrassed. I believe Liz. Then they brought up the last conversation and how he was kind of talking to her, and Tommy called him out. Tommy said, listen, that wasn't cool. Like, why did you let her talk? Like, why did you give her an opportunity to say what you had to say? It really came off as I'm going to quit before I get fired type situation. He was like, and let's be clear, anybody that decides to remove themselves from this process has to come through me. And so I felt like he was saying, bro, you ain't talked to me, so you ain't removed yourself from nothing. Because you hadn't talked to me about it. Then he said, you was the person that had the conversation with Stacey. You were the one that had the conversation with, was it Aubrey? Adrian? And they allowed you to go through the process and say your piece. And it was very rude that when it was your turn, you didn't allow that same grace. And you were very dismissive and very rude in your conversation with Liz. Now, I will say this, and I can appreciate what David said. David was like, listen, Liz, I apologize. I do. I truly apologize. But at the end of the day, if me stepping out of the way or you pushing me out the way, however it went down, help you find love with Jason, then it's all good. And you know what? From that point of view, you're right. He's right. If I helped you find love by being a jackass, he right. I'm just saying. Better find out now than find out later. Anyway. Then we had, last but not least, Jason and Liz. Listen, they still together. They still in love. They still ain't having sex. Listen, I ain't got a whole lot more with that. They making it. I wish them nothing but the best. They seem like a really nice couple. I hope they make it. It seems genuine. It doesn't seem put on for the cameras. They said they done met each other's family. All of the above. They said everything is everything. So hopefully, when we do a Where Are They Now, they still together. They said that they are exclusively dating, and that's where it is. So anyway, Y'all let me know what y'all think. Drop it in them comments. Peace.